Let's begin. Welcome back, folks. For those of you who have not heard of the Nerd Alert on my channel, it's because you probably have subscribed in the last year, because the last time we did one was in February. Not 2020, 2019. But it was with this guy, Matt Thanatos.
What's going on? Yeah, so we had to do the build-up and get everybody like crazy eager and just hype it up for a whole year. And this is what comes of it. Just
right. It was really just planning. There was a whole lot of planning that going into this. Really putting a lot of thought.
Okay, yeah.
So
a little bit of thought.
I actually put the link to the first episode down below because it only has like 200 views. So clearly there's a bunch of people that could watch it and enjoy it. The idea for this show, I pitched it to Matt when I knew he was thinking of like, well, I don't know that I am collecting comics as much. What could we talk about? And I was like, well, you and I share a lot of the same like nerd culture loves.
Fact.
You know, we talked about fantasy novels. We talked about Harry Potter in particular. And
the one you're most excited about.
Lord of the Rings, man. Come on.
Lord of the Rings.
I'm also reading the novels. Oh my gosh, now I've totally forgotten that you got me into the one with the musician. Jesus.
The Name of the Wind.
The Name of the Wind. Yeah.
Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss.
So I definitely want to talk about that novel at some point as well. But the premiere-ish episode, we were really just reclaiming the concept of what is a nerd. The idea that you can geek out over something and yet still retain your manhood, right? We specifically talked about the stigma of being a comic book collector and how we kind of were, a little more proud now of being comic collectors, even though there's definitely a nerd element.
I think definitely having a community that came together. So I don't know, it was just like magical. I don't know, when this whole YouTube thing really started picking up for all of us, and just like knowing that you weren't the only one. Like, you weren't the only one who was excited on Wednesdays to go pick up comic books. You weren't the only one waiting in line for a midnight release of a Harry Potter. Like, there are others like us out there. And
we are many. We are legion.
I mean, men is debatable. More like, I'll take it.
It depends on the corner of nerddom, right?
Yeah.
So let me bring in, we decided for talking Harry Potter, this kind of all started because a buddy of mine got around to finally reading the Harry Potter books. So we invited, of course, Alec from White Whale Comics to talk about this tonight.
Yeah, there are dozens of us.
Nailed it.
Yeah. See, I would have said that joke if I was actually on it, but I thought it was okay enough that it was.
It worked. It was well timed.
Thanks.
Well timed. And of course, if you're going to talk Harry Potter, there is one member of this community that you have to have on your show. And that's this guy right here. The man who signs out every one of his shows with a little Harry Potter comment. The boy Red Seven himself.
What's up, guys? I am so excited to finally do this. Alec teased us all and said, "Hey, I'm gonna read these books. Let's talk about them." And it was almost as long as Matt Thanatos not being around. We're finally doing it. I'm excited. I'm so excited,
man. So we're going to talk a little bit of the history of Harry Potter. We'll talk a little bit about the culture and how we connect to it. And we're going to hear a little bit of White Whale Comics review of how he connected to it. And maybe we'll run down our favorite and least favorite characters as well. So it should be a fun Harry Potter experience. I'm going to say hello to the chat real quickly before we get into this here. We had TJ about, an hour and a half before the show began, first in the chat. Thank you, buddy. And he's hopefully diving into his dinner and that it didn't get cold waiting for us, because that would suck. Hello to Sharon of Life with Two YouTubers. Thank you for coming by. Rod is sharing this on Twitter. I appreciate that, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rod.
JP says he's got to work early tomorrow, so he's going to catch the replay of this amazing panel. And John talking about it. But I'm
got him.
Cece's here, a Ravenclaw. Yes, I'm a Ravenclaw. And Matt, I believe, is a secondary Gryffindor. We got double Matts, double Gryffindorians.
That's right.
Hello, Kate Titus. Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
Comic Man Andy. He's here. More hearts. Hello. Thank you. And there's the boy who had 7. Again, everybody's channels linked down below. You can check them all out, although I don't think any of these are unknown to the chat here. Let's see here. Gore Vidal says, I haven't read the Harry Potter books. Children as protagonists, with rare exceptions, rarely attract my interest. I enjoy book talk, so this should be interesting. Ravenclaw.
See how he feels after this talk.
Yeah, exactly. Hopefully we can convince him. Ravenclaw representing God Tank. You know it, my man. Huge Harry Potter fan there. Alec with his house color behind him. You know it.
That's right.
He's on theme. You know that. Comic Misexplained with a little wizard emoji. Much appreciated, man.
Roll initiative.
And I think that is it. So I think we're good. Yes, we got Matt. I don't know which one you're talking about, but they're both here.
Probably the better Matt.
So I would be curious as to how you all kind of found Harry Potter. Like, so Thanatos, like at what point did you find this Harry Potter world?
So the books came out when I was what, 10? 98, 10?
Yeah, in the late 90s.
And I didn't read them initially. I know my mom actually bought me a soft cover when they came out because it like blew up pretty quick. And I didn't read it until I was like 12 years old. So it took me, I actually tried reading it, but I couldn't get past the original, like the Dursley, like that first, like him just getting abused was a struggle for me. But then like once I was able to get to him on a train to Hogwarts, like it left the station, man. And I was at every midnight premiere to buy every single book all the way until Deathly Hallows. I remember, like, I think by the 7th grade, my English class went on a field trip to go watch the first Harry Potter movie when it came out. I was in the 7th grade. Mrs. Whitney, thank you for that. That was a cool experience, man. So, I mean, like, I know, who was it that's Gore Vidal?
Yeah.
Said that, like, it's hard to see these children as protagonists. For me, like, it was growing up with these characters and relating to them that's what made it magical for, I think, a whole generation of children.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What about you, boy who had 7, other Matt, second Matt?
So
when did you first find these? Was it through your kids or was this on your own?
No, well, so I'm living in Utah 2002, and the 3rd movie comes out. And when Harry Potter came out, I was already getting ready to – I was already a little bit older by the time I heard about it. And I was like, yeah, not my thing, you know. And I was like, Gore, yeah, it's kid stuff, you know, I'm whatever. And then I went and watched the movie because my wife's like, let's just check it out. So I actually went and saw Harry Potter 3 before I saw 1 and 2.
Oh, no.
And that scene where expecto patronum and he saves himself, not knowing, okay, spoiler alerts, right?
No, there's no spoilers here. I mean, no fear of spoilers here, people. We're just talking about the books, and they are plenty old.
That's true. So that moment, I was sitting there in the theater, like, mind blown. I had goosebumps everywhere. I'm like, oh my gosh, he just saved himself. What is going on? Went home, bought all the books that are already out to that point, read them like instantly, watched movie 1 and 2, absolutely fell in love with it. And then I was just like, Matt, midnight showing, you know, for the movies, midnight for the books coming out. I mean, I got hooked. And I know we'll get into this later, but book 5 is my favorite. And it's because of the hunt of the Horcruxes and the wonder and trying to guess what they were going to be and everything. And book 5 and 6, you know, it just, I don't know. It was magical for me and I was hooked.
Nice.
It's one of my favorite things ever.
And we'll spend a little time at the end. There's a lot of cool paraphernalia around these screens here that you're going to get to check out. Yeah, everybody's got their wands at the ready.
That's right.
So then, Alec, obviously you held back for a good while on reading these. What? 2 questions, I guess. Why did you hold back? And then what made you decide to break the curse?
So I was a bit older when they started coming out, right? And I know you were too, John, but I don't know. For me, like I I guess I was just like, oh, that's kid stuff, and I just didn't really pay much mind to it. And obviously it became huge really quickly. And I had some friends who were like really into it and going to see the movies and everything, but it just didn't, kind of like Gore said, this idea of like kids, they're whiny. And I was just like, I don't know. It's not for me. I saw one of the movies on a plane at one point. I think it was maybe Prisoner of Azkaban.
The best movie.
But it just like it didn't grab me because I didn't know what was going on and whatever. So I didn't pay it much mind for a long time because it just I thought, well, this isn't for me.
And then what was the impetus to kind of like give it a go?
So the impetus to give it a go was actually many of you probably know this, but some of you don't, is that I'm a huge theme park fan, which is one of the main reasons I moved to Orlando. Is because I'm a Disney fanatic. And because I'm such a Disney fanatic, whenever I would come down, when I lived in Massachusetts, I would come down here, I would spend all my time at Disney because I didn't want to take time away from going to Disney when I had limited time. Right. And now that I moved down here, I was like, well, I'll start going to Universal, especially because I can practically walk there from where I live. So I had never been to Harry Potter World because like it wasn't my thing. So I was like, I'm not going to take my time to go there. I'm sure it's cool, whatever. And when I walked into the Harry Potter world, I was like, okay, this is really cool. Like it's very immersive. Like
get emotional here, dude.
Everyone was so like all the people there, and it was at Halloween time, so they had all these like Death Eaters around.
Ooh, that's cool. That's cool.
And it was like, okay, this is a universe that seems interesting. So I was like, all right, I work in an environment that I can listen to headphones. So I downloaded the audiobooks from the library and just ripped through them while I was working.
Okay, then I guess what I'm gonna start you off then with.
Shoot.
What is your overall like take on these books? I mean, it's hard to separate them maybe, but can you like condense an overall all 7 books review for us?
Okay. I think that J.K. Rowling is not a very good writer.
Dun, dun, dun!
She was good for the
rest of the show. We're gonna really get.
I mean, listen. She repeats herself constantly. Every book is, besides the last one, basically like the same frame with just different stuff plugged into it. Mm-hmm. Most of the twists are, I mean, I'm an adult, so maybe it's unfair to say most of the twists are very predictable. However, I will say the thing that kept me going was, again, the world she invented, the details in which she embellishes the world with is what fascinated me.
Okay. All right, you're good. You can go to bed now. You're
okay. That's all you needed. Goodbye.
Could you imagine if like she sold the rights to like, or just like opened up the rights for people, like for authors, or like invited like Stephen King to make a horror novel based on her world, like a crime thriller with horrors and Death Eater. Like it would be
comic books.
Comic books. There's just so much, and it does kind of suck that J.K. Rowling is maybe a little limited. I mean, it was written for children.
Right. And I think, like, having said that, she does a fine job. But I just don't think, like, the prose is not where these books are not the strength they stand on.
Sure. I could definitely agree with that, but I would also argue that the books increase in quality as they go along for me. Like there's definitely like high points, but books 1 and 2 are my least favorite, and the books in the second half are more of my favorites. So I feel like she increases in quality, and I will say there's a ton of twists I didn't see coming. Personally, there was a bunch of things that I just didn't. I mean, some of them, like, I could see that coming. But maybe more interesting how it plays out. But I get what you're saying.
Yeah, like the guy named Remus Lupin is the werewolf. Come on.
Surprise.
Yeah, but that's because they're knowledgeable and read well. I mean, there's a lot of people that had to look that up. And where did that come from? And what does that mean?
Like for that one, it's not like who's the werewolf, because they're not really looking for a werewolf. It's not like, oh, I wonder which one of these guys is the werewolf. It's more the reveal that like there is a werewolf.
Yeah,
I thought that was more interesting, and it wasn't a shock to me, but it was more interesting. Like you're saying, the world of it, that book is the one that makes me get super emotional when they're all in the hut. Yeah. And you're hearing about Harry's dad and the relationship with those guys and what they've all gone through and how they've all distrusted each other since a really brutal event.
Despite that criticism, that's my favorite book.
Yeah.
Screaming Shack.
Absolutely. Yeah. That whole sequence, it's like 3 chapters in that Shrieking Shack, and then through the time travel bit, it's all just amazing.
And I mean, I'm sure we've all read the series more than once.
How many times have you read it, Matt?
I typically read it once every few years. I'll just go through it real quick. And I mean, every time you kind of learn a little bit more and you see things that like what I read when I going through like first reads, and I was a preteen and not the brightest kid, like I would not have known what Lupin was when I was 12. I didn't take Latin. Like now as a well-read adult, I see a lot of the errors and the kind of like, that was pretty stupid, or the foreshadowing that was so obvious. But now, like back then, it was just like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Again, like I do give her like some extra leeway when it comes to that foreshadowing stuff, because you're foreshadowing, even though the books mature, they're still kids' books.
Yeah.
So like you don't want to be like super subtle and cryptic with your foreshadowing. You want to be able to like have kids kind of like pick up on some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite things about the book that I think is actually genius is something that you said you kind of didn't like, Alec, and it's the structure that she has in every book except for the last one. Because like Matt said earlier, he was growing with Harry. And what do we do when we're that age? We go to school, we hang out at school, we come out during break, have our Christmas break, go back to school, then have our summer, and like the fact that she did the same thing every book you could count on, knowing that Harry was going to start at home with the Dursleys. He was going to get on the train and head to Hogwarts. Something was going to happen. He was going to hang out there. It's this beautiful structure. And I think
the use of the seasons and the holiday breaks and I get that. Yeah. So go ahead, Matt.
No. Yeah. So, I mean, I think it was genius because it's a kid's book and because you were able to count on that structure and grow with Harry as he grew, But I see what you're saying as an adult looking back and reading that, realizing, this was written for 8-year-olds to 16-year-olds, but as an adult, I can still enjoy the heck out of it. So
with how many, like, I would imagine like the Sorcerer's Stone is a super easy read. I mean, even at 11 or 12, like, you could probably read it in elementary school if you're so. But I mean, how many kids around the world have had Harry Potter be like the first fantasy book that they've probably ever picked up? I mean, it's been translated into, I was going to look it up, like it has to be
every
freaking language in the world. And so that I think it's good that it's kind of easy and it has a flow to it. So that way people that aren't English speakers or aren't very well, literate, they can learn like from it and grow with it.
Well, and I'll also say, like, as a 3rd grade teacher, it's a book that's probably more challenging than an average 3rd grader. The first book, certainly. And I've always viewed it as a great book to motivate kids to want to read more effectively. Like they're going to push themselves because they're going to get so wrapped up in all these elements. And for a lot of those kids, it's the first time reading something that feels mature to them. It's not like a talking dog or whatever. It has these elements that I think are little more profound. And certainly to a child who might go to a boarding school, a sleepaway school, I think that formula would be very comforting. And I guess J.K. Rowling did some of that in her youth. So I think that element of sleepaway school and the school year and the progression would be functional in that way.
It's funny you should say that, though, because like using this as a way to get kids into reading, it's kind of like a double-edged sword as far as I can kind of see it, because yes, it'll get kids excited about reading, but then where do you send them from here?
Oh, I mean, the chat's actually blowing it away right now. Look, there's the Dark Materials stories, the Lord of the Rings is happening in the chat.
Foul.
Yeah. My girls went to Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson.
They read it like Matt was saying. That was a huge for Kate, but she already liked mythology, and obviously that was like so
Narnia.
Yeah.
The thing is, you see Narnia and Lord of the Rings. There's moments where I was reading the book, I'm like, holy crud, she's literally just like giving an ode to Lord of the Rings right here.
Sure.
Or, holy crud, she's totally like ribbing up Narnia right here. Like you see it in there. It's
Lord of the Rings and Narnia were the two like kind of books that came out. They came out at the same time, and they were both kind of like the inventors of this modern fantasy idea.
Oh yeah. Right. So I was wondering if we all wanted to kind of go through and talk about our favorite, not why one book might be a personal favorite for us. Thanatos, was there one book in this series that you are drawn to more than the others?
It has to be Prisoner of Azkaban. It right off the bat just starts like it has a different feel to it. It's more like gritty, with like I don't really like. You're so afraid of Sirius Black, and to me, like not really the twist at the end, but to find
he's like the devil he's got.
Yeah, I mean, like to me as a young child, like she played it so well, where he was like this super scary villain. He was out to kill Harry, and then you find out like. Yeah,
I mean, that was a twist that totally got me.
Oh, man,
and the freaking rat, holy crap!
Freaking alive, man!
Oh my God.
Finger off, like.
You meet Professor Lupin, who was fantastic. Like the one professor of the dark arts who was awesome.
Worth a damn.
When I think of teachers, I put Lupin and John. I always think of them together.
Oh wow, that's
I'm dead serious, dude. I'm dead serious.
I'm way more of a mad.
Except John doesn't abandon his family.
You just hurt me so bad.
But I mean, you also get the first Patronus. Like,
oh yeah,
it feels like Harry finally takes like a big step in his ability. Like, because this whole time, he's like, he's just a kid wizard, and then he pulls off this like super intricate spell that's like, I mean, it's not intricate, it's literally like two words
beyond his years,
but it's a hard spell for even adults to throw off. And so you're finally like, maybe he's got a little more than we think he does. And it was so well done. And this is my favorite movie too, probably.
And then I think you were saying the same thing, right, Matt? The other Matt?
Yeah, the movie's what got me, and that my favorite spell in all of Harry Potter is Expecto Patronum, which we should ask ourselves, like, what if you guys had a Patronus, what would it be? Did you guys think about that?
So I took the official like test in the app, and mine came up as a Basset Hound.
Cool,
perfect.
But I don't know if I see that so much.
If you could choose it, what would it be?
Probably a wolf.
Yeah.
Dog family. There you go.
Yeah. So not far off, but.
What about you, Mr. G?
Mine would definitely be my dog that I grew up with. It's a Great Pyrenees, big, huge, white, massive dog, man. A dog, man's best friend. Just be out there with me, conquering evil, man. Oh.
And what about you, Matt? What would you pick?
My Pottermore one is a Scottish Deerhound, I think.
You guys all got dogs. Look at you guys.
I got a dog on there.
like an Alaskan Malamute would probably fit pretty well.
Dope.
But also like a part of me would be like, it'd be sweet to get a non-stupid like panda bear, you know, like how cool would that be? Like
Skadoosh.
like falling out of a tree because pandas are stupid.
It would be hilarious to be the one kid who's got like a snail.
Oh, poor kid, man.
Oh man, what the heck?
You should have just been a squib.
Yeah. That's almost worse than a squib. At least the squib has an excuse.
I know, right?
Right?
The slowest Patronus ever.
Oh my god! I think mine was a bird of some kind when I did it on Pottermore. It was I don't remember the exact species of bird, but it was not like an eagle or a falcon or it was like a smaller type of bird.
Hummingbird.
Right. I don't know if I could pick. I mean, I'd love a sea otter. I mean, I know that's what Hermione's got. Cool. I think, right? I would be down for the otter. Otters are amazing.
Yeah.
Also debatable. You should probably look up more about otters.
What they sleep holding hands and they make little tools and they break things up.
Yeah, and they're cute. Friendly show, but I'll send you a link of some terrible things that otters do.
I'm not gonna like actually go and hold an otter.
The only way to get one of those in the app is if you use the Pottermore app.
He's like asking to get kicked off. You're laughing yet. There you go.
I'll tell you what, like my favorite book would probably be book 7, just because I'm the kind of guy that loves the ending and having things wrap up. That's why Endgame is my favorite movie I ever watched, you know. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, yeah, Infinity War is better. But I love it ending. I love the getting wrapped up. I love the Deathly Hallows is one of the coolest things ever. I do not have a tattoo, and I probably will never put a tattoo on my body. But if I did, it would be the Deathly Hallows, man.
I'll share it with you.
Yeah, there we go, baby. Do it for me.
I would probably go with Thanatos. For me, I'd probably go with the third book personally. What about you, Alec? You had already kind of said it, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
What was it? Because now you saw that film before you read anything, so everything was kind of ruined already, right?
So I like, honestly, I sleep a lot on planes, so I don't know if I'd necessarily watch the whole thing. I did not remember it when I rewatched it. So
okay.
Have you watched all the movies since you read the book?
I have not. I've only watched the first 5,
okay.
So I have not seen the last couple. There's
a dancing scene in the last 2 that's just horrible. Give people, man.
when you get like evil Hermione who like goes to the club and starts dancing, it's really good.
Is that a Spider-Man 3 joke
right now?
Spider-Man 3 joke. Yeah, it was
nice.
What's your favorite spell other than the Patronus?
I was gonna say
Umbra, Avada Kedavra.
No, you can't just throw that
around. I'm sorry.
You have a green light glowing in White Whale's place. It's just
man. Also, the green light flashes.
Someone just drops dead in the channel.
Everyday use, it would be just Accio, right?
Yeah. Oh
right?
man.
Where's the remote? Accio remote. Accio cell phone, car keys. Where's all that?
Accio Action Comics #1.
Right. I think that would be just like an everyday spell.
I bet Alex would be different. What's yours, Alec?
I just said it, Cruciato.
You gonna torture people?
I didn't say I would use it. I just said it was a cool spell.
All right, you're not Hufflepuff. You're definitely a Slytherin.
Yep. Slytherin through and through.
I think I would pick Stupefy because I would just.
It's dope.
I'm done talking to you. Get stupefied, son.
There's some burning on Perry going on here.
I've always loved blowing things up, so I'm going to go Bombarda.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, so we wrote down some of our favorite / least favorite characters, and I know this was Alec's idea, so I'm going to let him get started on this. Do you want to do favorites first or least favorites, Alec?
Probably favorites, I guess.
Okay, let's hear Alec's 5 favorite characters.
So this is the time when I get banned from your channel forever.
I'm ready with the button right now.
Probably more so with my least favorite.
Okay.
Yeah, #1, obviously, my boy, Severus Snape.
I knew it.
Got his wand.
Yeah, baby.
He is the best character in the series, and I'll fight anyone who argues with me.
Always.
Fight me, bro.
Always. I'm not saying he's the best person. He's the best character.
I will say on rereads and rewatches, I get my adoration for him kind of dwindles because you just see what a
douche.
Absolutely.
That's the exact word I was thinking, man.
I mean, yeah, that's the one way I was just saying an absolutely lost in his like completely self-absorbed character.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I don't know.
We'll get to self-absorbed. But like I knew from the absolute beginning that he wasn't like a bad guy. Like they portray him as like the evil guy, and like he's not that. He's just tortured by unrequited love, and he makes bad decisions based on that, but he also like makes a lot of good decisions.
Yeah, he does.
I just, for me, like the rewatching and the rereading, you just see how completely absorbed in his grief he is. And he just is cruel. Like he is downright mean to people. Like,
but okay, I'll tell you this. I'll get to that.
To children.
I mean, legitimately, if you look at that first meeting between Harry and Snape, there is no logical reason for him to just tear into this kid.
Yeah.
And he just lights this kid up.
All
that Harry's doing, Harry is literally writing down what the teacher is saying, and he lights that kid up.
Yeah.
He is stern, and I'll get to some more of that in a minute.
I understand, but just that moment, your student is writing down what you're saying, and you're gonna light that kid up. It's like
go back to your top 5. We can talk about each character slowly, but
real quick, did you guys know that when they were making the movies, J.K. didn't tell anybody where their character arc was going to go except for him?
Snape, yeah.
Yep.
Rick.
Yep.
That's an awesome decision too. And she only had one demand for actor, which was the gentleman who played Hagrid. She's like, that's Robbie Coltrane.
That's what I pictured right here.
That guy.
Yeah.
That was her only request, was get that guy. All right, sorry. You have 4
problem. Number 2, Ginny Weasley. Ginny is the best. She is so confident and sassy and smart-mouthed and doesn't take no crap from nobody. And she's got a good head on her shoulders, and she keeps everyone else in line when they're goofing off and acting like turd burglars.
Yeah. Turd burglars.
That's right.
So who's out there thieving turds?
Well, a number of the characters in this book.
All right. You got 3 more?
Yeah. Luna Lovegood.
Yeah.
Luna Lovegood is she's herself through and through, and she doesn't care what anyone else thinks about her.
She doesn't even think that way.
Right. She's just like, this is what I like. This is what I do. And this is who I am, and unapologetically, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
Despite my huge dunk on him earlier, Remus Lupin, number 4, he would be higher if it weren't for his bad decisions towards the end of the book or the series. And number 5,
right.
What's that?
He was trying to do what's right.
Yeah, but he did it in a really bad way.
We'll talk about this.
And
what?
Number 5. The last one.
Number 5. Neville Longbottom.
Cool. The other chosen one.
Harry Potter 2.0.
That's hilarious.
Nice list. I hope we get to talk about it later before we go on, but I want to talk about some of the best moments in the different books.
Sure, we can definitely do that.
Neville definitely has one of them.
He has several, yeah. But yeah, okay. So then let's go to Boyhood 7. What about your 5?
Okay. So I'm going to go in order. Okay, number 1, and I know
that was in order for me.
I know it was in order for you.
Yeah.
Number 1, I know you took a swipe at him, but Harry Potter, man, he is numero uno in my book. He would have been one of my best friends. Number 2, Luna Lovegood.
Yeah,
absolutely, like you're saying, man. I just love Luna. She is what she is. She's just so different and so full of love and like hope and like peace. Like that character is so great. Dobby.
Ooh,
when I call him Dobby. I'm American. When Dobby died, man. Oh my gosh, that was the hardest death for me in all of the books. I was not expecting it. My dog had just passed away, the one that would have been my Patronus, and I had literally carried him and buried him like days before I read that. And he just reminded me of my dog, like this guy that just loves you and will do anything for you. And when he passed away, it was like, oh, that killed me, man. Remus Lupin, one of the most wise, epic, mature characters ever written. I love him. And then the greatest wizard ever created in any book, Albus Dumbledore.
Yikes.
I said it. He will take out Gandalf.
Hot take is right up there with your hot take, brother.
Yoda. Dumbledore is the greatest wizard. There's no wizard that could battle him. I'm sorry.
Wizard's so impressive that even Voldemort wouldn't face him.
That's right. So yeah, that's my top 5.
Thanatos, let's see your 5, brother.
My top 5. Okay, I'm going to start with Ginny Weasley, but only the book Ginny.
Yeah,
because movie Ginny. Ooh.
I actually didn't mind
books wise, but like, God, she was such a strong character in the books. Yeah. She's such a badass. Like, she's amazing.
Yeah,
it was really hard for me to watch the movies and see her character just like have no part. So that was pretty disappointing. But I was a big. You'll see my number 2, but number 2 is Hermione. For me, number 1 being Ginny. Like, Hermione was my she was my waifu, my best girl in the books. Until Harry too kind of like came along, and I was like, "Oh, damn, Ginny, get it."
Yeah,
it was just great. Number 2, Hermione, just because like, oh man, I love a smart girl, and she has that character where first book she's kind of off-putting, kind of awkward, kind of, they were like, maybe we shouldn't be your friend because you're weird, and she's a study-holic, but talk about a girl that's going to be the most badass wizard one day.
Yeah. Hermione.
Dude, like, she sees a spell or does it a few times, and then she's like, she's got it.
Hogwarts history.
Yeah, and then her growth as a character over time, where it is. But like, as she starts getting better at being, I don't know, normal, like being able to talk to people and all this stuff. So Hermione, definitely number 2. Number 3, I went with Dobby.
Nice.
He seems like such an inconsequential character, but at the same time, he has such a large impact on so much of the story.
Right.
Goosebumps right now all over me, man.
Oh man, I love Dobby. Like, at first you're like, oh, this character is super annoying, but he adds an element of fun, and he comes in at like the most inopportune moments, and you're just like, oh no, what Dobby showed up? What's gonna happen?
Yeah.
Number 4, Luna
Harry Potter must not go to Hogwarts.
Number 4, Luna Lovegood. Just
yes,
the girl who's just.
Dude, you got all the ladies on your list.
Oh man, I grew. Okay, remember when I was reading these books, I was in that prime time,
baby,
full puberty mode. You better believe there was like every single book. I'm like, ooh, Cho Chang, what's up, Cho Chang? Ooh, French girls, hell yeah, French girls. And number 5, I went with my favorite adult, Sirius Black.
Cool.
That man just wanted to love Harry so bad. Like, he wanted to be the godfather that Harry deserved.
Yeah.
And that was probably the hardest death for me in the entire series, because you're like, oh my God, he doesn't have to live with the Dursleys anymore. He's going to move in with Sirius, and we're finally going to see like, it's going to be so good. And then it was just like a punch to the throat, man. That would be so bad.
The way he goes through the whispering wall.
Yeah.
And Harry's like, he's just on the other side. Like, oh my gosh.
And in the movie, they did. I think the actor did such a great job. Like when he starts.
Oh, Gary Oldman did a great job at something.
Oh,
That's surprising.
But as when he's like talking to Harry and he's calling him James, and you're just like, this man, like, he's the best friend. He just wants to be, and he just suffered. Like his whole life was just. Ugh.
Yeah. Sorry, I was saying goodnight.
Those are my 5.
Those are great. And honestly, I've got a very similar list. So some of the same ones will repeat as far as number 1 for me is Hermione. I just freaking love that kid.
I knew that would be your number 1 too.
I think she's just an awesome character. I think sure. But also I think what I like is that she's learning sort of the opposite of the boys. Mm-hmm. She's learning how to be a little more instinctual, a little more reckless. And watching her evolution into someone who will make a rash decision, punch Draco Malfoy in the face or what have you.
Oh,
like
yeah.
That, I like that evolution as a character. I thought that was very interesting. Lupin, of course. Luna, of course. I'm a Fred and George fan, so I put them together.
They're so
Every
great.
time they come in, they slay me. They add the levity that's needed. I love the way they end their sort of story in story 5. I think it's just amazing. So Fred and George I put them together. They've got to, they come in a pair. And then as far as like teacher who's in all the books, I'm sort of torn, and I'm going to go with McGonagall today, but it might be Dumbledore tomorrow. I love Professor McGonagall. She clearly needs to be the headmistress of this school, and that's you just see it straight off. Like she doesn't play favorites. She plays things as fair and straight up as they can be. She expects certain things from everybody, and if she doesn't get it, she's gonna whip ass. Like she's hardcore, and I actually truly love that character, and it's the kind of teacher we wish for our kids across the board.
Yeah.
They'll care for them and expect a lot from them and get a lot out of them.
And her character,
her spell in the last book when she takes the soldiers down from the wall, she's like, protect Hogwarts.
Yeah. And I love that Pat version with the spectacles on it, like the whole thing. Just dig all of it.
Sorry, Matt, didn't mean to cut you off, man.
Oh, you're good. I was just saying, like, her in the books and in the movie were like perfect.
Right.
Like such a great job.
I'm so glad that actress survived and lived until they finished the movie. When it got to be like movie 5, I was like, oh god damn it.
Oh.
Well, speaking of that, did you like the first Dumbledore, the actor, or the second?
First Dumbledore. First.
Yeah,
I have no problem with either one. I enjoyed equally what each brought to it, but I do think that Richard Harris never got a chance to bring the recklessness and the inconsistency. He was always like sweet and gentle grandpa, like all the time. And I always felt like there was an element missing from his version. I just couldn't put my finger on it. So I have no problem with either one.
Yeah. I think they both did great, but in my head when I was reading the books, I always pictured the first guy.
Deacon Ricciardo said his list would be Sirius, Albus, Hagrid. Nobody mentioned Hagrid. Hermione.
Hagrid was originally on my list, but I replaced him with Dobby.
My problem with Hagrid is that they waste him in the last book or so. Like, I just feel like they pissed what was really great away. Like, he needed a moment to shine in that last book, and he just never got it. So I was really bummed about that.
It's because
Alec
was too powerful.
Alec is clearly ready with his.
No, I want to go last because you're going to kick me off afterwards.
I already know who your number one is. Like, it's not surprising. So then,
can't believe you don't like Harry, man.
Let's start with Thanatos. Then you want to do your 5 least favorite characters?
Yeah, man. Number 1, if she is not your number 1,
it's my number 1.
You know exactly who it is. Dolores.
Yes.
Umbridge.
That horrible Umbridge woman.
She is
my number 1 too.
Evil.
Same here.
Awful.
I mean, in like the most one-dimensional way possible. Like, you're just like, everything she does is like this creepy, scary grandmother of like, I don't know, way too nice to be a good person. I don't know.
Yeah,
She's about her is just.
she's so saccharine. She's so saccharine. Right?
The cat.
All the sugar she puts in her tea, it's like this.
I must not tell lies.
And I mean, between the book and the movie, again, I mean, I actually like her character because I hated her so much.
Right.
But as far as like my least favorite from both, it's got to be her.
Yeah.
Number 2.
Did you know that the line that they added for the movie, JK was like, how come I did not think of that for the book? The one when Harry's like, I'm sorry, Professor, I must not tell lies. Like,
yeah.
She was like, why didn't I have that line in my book? Like, it's such a great line.
Yeah, it was a good one-liner.
She's like, tell them I mean them no harm. And he's like, sorry, Professor, I must not tell lies. It's such a good
even after that,
real quick.
Right.
Like seeing her, I don't mean to take over your list, but seeing her get carried away into the woods, Dumbledore save her, and then she comes back and is just as evil in the last book.
Anything. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, woman.
Yeah.
She is. She is all. If there's anyone that deserves it in the entire book series, it's her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 2, Rita Skeeter.
Yes. That's my number 2.
Oh man, she is awful.
Oh man,
Just like
Magus, illegal.
such a snake, a sleaze bag.
Yeah.
Number 3, Severus Snape.
He's
Garbage.
Not on my list.
Not on my list, man.
And it's everything that John pointed out. Yes, he has this like, at the very end, he has this like redeeming little. No, the dude was a total dirtbag the entire time. I can't forgive years
Incorrect.
hating this man
Incorrect.
because of one book.
You can't break bread with Voldemort and not be tainted by it, man, while you're double crossing him for Dumbledore.
So I mean, yeah, like
I love him.
it
Sorry,
was
Matt.
so sudden where you're like, he's all of a sudden like everything he's been doing the past 10 years has been for the greater good. Like,
Yes, exactly. He sacrifices him.
Joy ruining these children's lives.
He sacrifices himself, and and
He could have done that while still also being a good person.
This is true.
He didn't have to be.
But he's a Slytherin. He's a jerk.
How many
naturally.
times does he save Harry and doesn't take credit for it?
Amen.
He's not one to be congratulated for his good deeds. He does them because it's the right thing to do.
He's garbage.
No,
I love it.
he is the true hero of the book.
Many people argue that.
I think you could argue a portion of that, but I do think you're overlooking. But let's let Thanatos finish his list there.
Number 4, the Dursleys. How are you going to treat anyone like that?
Yeah, right.
Like, I can't do child abuse. It's the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
If how they weren't called like CPS, like whatever the UK's version of that is, nobody knows. And then number 5, the biggest phony of all, Professor Lockhart.
Good one. Yeah.
Yep.
Just out here stealing other people's glory and wiping their memories. Garbage.
Yep.
Good list,
Okay.
man.
Gonzalez, what's up, man?
Okay, so number 1, Umbridge. Absolutely, we covered her.
Yep.
Number 2, the Dursleys for sure. Even in the very end, when Dudley has a change of heart and realizes Harry saved me, and there's something going on my parents never told me. He shakes his hand. Oh, it breaks me up. And then his aunt has every opportunity to say, "I'm so sorry for everything I put you through," and she just turns away and walks away.
Garbage.
Sorry, guys, I'm too emotional about this stuff.
No, it's good. It's good.
So yeah, Dursley's number 2, Lockhart number 3. Man, like you said, and he tries to do it to Ron, and it's so great that his broken wand backfires, and he's in St. Mungo's for the rest of his life. It's so good.
That's a great ending.
Oh man, I love it. This guy though, I can't stand this next guy. I cannot believe that he's not on your guys' list, and it's Fudge.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know, Fudge was such a horrible leader, such a weak leader. If he had listened to Dumbledore, they could have prevented Voldemort from ever even returning. And because of his pride and his stupidity, Voldemort comes back. So cannot stand the Prime Minister.
He was on my short list, but he didn't make it. Yeah.
And then last, but not least, Filch. I'm not a fan of Filch and the way that he treats the kids because he's a squib and he's angry at them and jealous.
I'm just gonna let you guys know this is the only show I've ever done with my wife, like legitimately sitting and listening, like the whole time. Like, I know that she likes the three of you a ton, but like it's also like the topic. She's just sitting there when we started counting down lists. She just stood there in the doorway, like, when are they gonna get to Umbridge? When are they gonna get to Umbridge?
Number one.
Number one, baby. Oh.
It's actually a quote we use around the house when it's like somebody's being awful. We're like, God, that horrible Umbridge woman. We don't use Karen around here. It's Umbridge.
It's Umbridge. That's right. Dolores.
Right. So yeah, Umbridge number one, absolutely. Rita Skeeter number two. I just went with Uncle Vernon. I just went with him.
Yeah.
And then Bellatrix Lestrange, is just demonic and foul. And then I have pity for the final character on my list, but I can't get over the fact that Draco Malfoy is just such a punk bitch.
We would have dealt with him.
For every reason that he's gonna crap on Harry Potter, you could crap on Draco Malfoy for the exact same things. So I throw him under the bus happily.
Nice. That's a great point, John.
He's a weasel.
Yeah. So okay, Alec, let's get you off this show.
I'm gonna go 5-1.
Okay.
Number 5 is Umbridge.
Number 5
the reason now.
Ooh, I mentioned Lucius too. We didn't mention Lucius Malfoy.
I took this in a different direction than you guys. I didn't pick my characters that I hated that were bad. I took this as characters that I thought were flawed or that I disliked.
Annoying.
For certain reasons. Yeah.
But I would argue that that's a lot of these for me as well.
So the reason I put Umbridge at 5 and not number 1 is because she is, like Matt Thanatos said, she's so one-dimensionally evil. Like there's not enough, like she could have been more interesting if there was more to her, but she's just bad. And like you hate reading the scenes with her and you hate her, but you're supposed to hate her. So I thought it was like, I don't know. So that's why she's my number.
You're looking at it as the reader checking out the character,
not the character themselves.
Yeah, okay, I see it.
So I'm not saying these are like bad people. I'm saying these are the characters I did not enjoy reading as much. Number 4 is Draco, because he is Harry. Like he is just Slytherin's Harry. They are a mirror image of each other. If this book was written about Draco, like Harry would have been the bad guy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the reason why I dislike him so much is because he needed a moment of redemption and he never got it. In the last book, he should have led the Slytherins into battle. Like he is
against Voldemort.
Yeah, he is foolhardy at the beginning, and like the whole time I thought like, oh, he's just like playing up this role of like, oh, my dad's a Death Eater, and like, but I thought he didn't really know what was going on. And then so I thought he was going to take up arms against him, because when he realizes, oh, this is actually happening and this is actually bad, I thought he was going to have a moment of redemption, which never came, and I was super disappointed about that.
Man, that would have been a really cool redemption arc.
Yeah,
I would argue that he gets that in the play, but that's obviously not necessarily connected to what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Number 3, I apologize. It's
Dumbledore. I figured 1, 2, and 3 are going to be. Oh, okay. I thought it was going to be just Harry, Ron, Hermione. Just Ben.
No. Dumbledore.
You sound like Dumbledore. Oh my god.
And I'm so sorry, TJ.
Couldn't like him.
What's that?
I would probably put him on like my worst 10 characters.
He is self-absorbed. He has a holier than thou attitude that causes more trouble than it's worth. If he is just honest with the other characters in the book, so much would not happen. But because he thinks that, oh, I'm stronger and I'm better than you, I need to do this on my own and not involve you because it did, like, I don't know. He rubbed me the wrong way too many times. And
it's ultimately his story from even like before these books. He lives that same viewing himself as, he ultimately has like muggles are lesser than me life he's living before this story takes place. So he's had that like selfish, I'm number one.
God complex.
Yeah, exactly.
And having said that, he is also great, but he rubbed me the wrong way too many times.
Okay. And that leaves 2.
He'd kick Gandalf's butt.
What's that?
He'd kick Gandalf's butt.
Well, Gandalf is not a real wizard.
Gandalf's going to be too much of that Hobbit weed.
He's a Hercules.
Gandalf is a shuckster.
Gandalf still has to ride a horse.
Yeah.
Shadow.
There's no actual magic in Lord of the Rings. That's my argument. We'll talk about that on another show.
Okay.
Number 2, Molly Weasley.
Whoa, man, come on. She's one of the best.
No, she is horrible to everyone. If anyone disagrees with her, she just lambastes them. She dumps all over Hermione, calls her a scarlet woman because Rita Skeeter, a known liar, writes a story about her.
Yeah, I can see that.
She is verbally abusive to her own family. What's that?
He's just starting to drink. You got to just start drinking right off the bat. He's going.
Oh yeah. And number 1, no surprise, Harry Potter.
Go ahead. This is your chance. You got your platform.
You have
Harry
to defend that position. Definitely.
Yeah, sure, I will. Absolutely. Harry is a troublemaker. He does not listen to authority. He does not take anything seriously other than what he wants to and what he thinks is important. He doesn't listen to people when they tell him that something is dangerous or that he should not put his nose where it does not belong. And he causes more trouble than he is worth.
I disagree.
He is a terrible example for children.
He's mean, dude. He's mean.
Can I say, firstly, you're not wrong. And you're like, well, yeah, I know that, John. Secondly, honestly, like, it reminds me of that guy right down there and his childhood and the troublemaker and whatever. And for me, it's a very, like, obviously I teach 9 and 10-year-olds and I'm around a lot of kids. He's acting like a normal kid in some ways, like a certain kind of kid who doesn't have parents, grew up in a household where he's abused.
Yeah, I'm not saying he wasn't dealt a bum lot, but
I like that he is flawed in the ways that he's flawed.
Yeah.
And the reason why I defend Snape so much is because he is hard on Harry because Harry is a bad student. He is disrespectful.
Not even.
What do you mean not even? He questions Snape's authority all the time.
Let's go to that first meeting.
Let's do it.
Harry does literally nothing. He is taking notes on what the teacher is saying.
Excited to learn magic.
He gets lit up on the first day of school
because
for nothing.
I would have never treated that teacher with respect after that myself.
That moment burned all the bridges. When an authority teacher lights up a kid for writing down what the teacher is saying.
Yeah.
So that might have been a bit overboard, but I think what he was trying to do in that moment is that Harry gets there and is already being touted as like this important figure, this great wizard,
Right.
and
Which
he
he
is
doesn't really get, and it's not in his head. Harry
He's
doesn't.
not acting egotistical or anything.
And he can't help that other people want to look at his little stupid scar and be like, oh, the chosen.
But I think that he does it as much for the other kids in the class as he does do it for Harry. He's saying
making excuses for him to be able to do this horrible thing to a kid who's done nothing to him.
No, I'm saying he's doing it to set the tone, to say no one is special in this class. You do well and you will be rewarded.
Malfoy.
And he's doing the right thing in that room at that moment.
What I do appreciate about Harry is that he will defend his friends.
Yeah.
No matter what.
Sure. Harry is not like, I'm not saying there's nothing redeeming about Harry. There's great stuff about Harry. He is certainly brave. He is certainly loyal for the most part, except when he gets upset at Ron or Hermione and decides to not talk to them for half a book 4 times. But think about it. He's always right all those times. Is he? And listen, I'm not. Nobody's perfect, right? Snape certainly makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But I still will defend him until the end, and I will still say Harry has a lot of work to do.
I would argue, though, that for me, like, I get what you're saying. If I was just looking at books like, I don't know, 2 through 7, I get what you're saying. Book 1 is the one that disproves your theory for me, because that's the book where Harry's literally doing nothing. He's not acting egotistical, running around the school like I'm the best ever. He's stressed, he's nervous, he's uncomfortable, and he sits down and starts copying what the teacher's saying, and he gets lit up by an authority figure on the first day of school.
Right.
Like, why would Harry ever listen to that teacher or treat that teacher with respect or do anything that teacher asks ever? Yeah.
This goes back to my
first day of school.
This goes back to my first comment about J.K. Rowling not being a great writer, because I think what she was trying to do is the old bait and switch of trying to make you think that Snape is the villain. Sure. And she went too hard.
So you really thought reading it that Snape was going to turn out to be somebody that wasn't the main villain or whatever?
I knew from almost immediately that he was a good guy.
Cool. Yeah. I think I could have predicted that as well. I feel like I was always looking for the reasons why, but like the more you reread it, I feel like the more you reread it, and a geek aficionado makes the point, like the more you reread it, you see an adult abusing a position of power over a kid. And usually, especially in the first few books, it's completely unjustified. Now, later, Harry is pretty
James. He thinks he's James. He's treating him like it's James.
Let me be clear about something.
But later, Harry does become James and starts totally blowing it. But by then, he is only following the path that Snape set him on, in my opinion.
And Dumbledore.
Let me be clear about something. I would much rather be friends with Harry than Snape.
We are friends, Alec.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not saying like that Snape is a better person than Harry. I'm saying that I liked his character better.
Yeah.
It's definitely an adult perspective, I think.
Oh, for sure. If I read these books as a kid, I would have hated Snape.
Yeah.
Well, sure. And for me, I read it as a teacher, and I'm like, that guy should not be a teacher. That guy is a failure of a teacher.
Yeah, well, neither does half of the people Dumbledore hires should not be teachers.
Every single defense against the dark arts teacher.
It's like textbook, the good old boy system or something, man. It's
right. Oh my gosh.
How did Dumbledore...
I will say this. I do not get as angry at Snape as these two guys up here do, because I feel like the fact that he was also came from a hard childhood and he was also picked on his whole life, and then he falls in love with Lily and loses her to James, and you got to get over that, dude. But then he betrays them to the Dark Lord, and then he spends the rest of his life trying to make that promise up to Dumbledore, and he's always like having to be bad and block his mind from the greatest legilimens ever, Voldemort, like getting into his mind and realizing like this dude's double crossing me. I don't know. he's always in darkness and doing it for Dumbledore. And then like that scene when he tells him when he's fighting with Dumbledore and he's like, you can't let Malfoy kill me. You have to do it because we have to protect Malfoy's soul. And then Snape's like, what about my soul? You know, like all of that breaks my heart for Snape, man. And it makes me have a lot more of a softer heart for him. So
he's a severely tortured. He's severely tortured.
I mean, yeah, he was willing to let a kid die. He was like, I don't care about the kid. Like, who cares? Yeah. Even in the movie when he's like holding the dead woman in his lap and like there's a crying baby right behind you. Like he's got like a head wound, you know, like right there. There's a crying. Yeah. He's like, no, it's the dead woman.
Yeah.
Screw the baby. I don't give a crap.
I think that in moments of intense grief and trauma, people make bad decisions.
Don't try to justify it. He's garbage.
I disagree with that take as well. I mean, he's not on either of my lists because I have a love-hate relationship with the character, and I think his redemption in book 7 is beautiful, and I cry every time that Harry goes through that Pensieve sequence and has to relive it all, and I think it's amazing, and I think the reveal is beautifully laid in, even if you can see it coming in some ways. I think it's kind of beautifully laid out. But on the reread, I find myself more and more disappointed with him as a character. So that's why he's not on my favorite list, and it's also why he's not on my least favorite list.
Alec, do you think you'll take the time to sit down with the book and read the series again, or are you like, I'm good enough? I'm good listening to him.
Yeah, I mean, not immediately, but I certainly will probably at some point.
Yeah,
especially the audiobooks. I did the British version and the guy who I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but the guy who does John's Comics with Kids who does the audiobook version.
I've read plenty of them or listened to plenty of them.
does like a really remarkable job. So it's a real joy to listen to.
I'm gonna open up my app because I have them too and see if it's the same one.
So I wanted to give a little time for people to kind of share some of the like accoutrements that they might have collected. So Thanatos has some pretty amazing items over there at the Thanatos household. What do you want to show us? What are your Harry Potter like awesome collection items?
So aside from being a comic collector, I think first and foremost I was definitely more of like I didn't read comics when I was reading Harry Potter. I didn't get into that until I was in high school. So books have always kind of been like, well, I don't know how to point those. I typically like to have first edition, first prints of all my favorite books. And you know, sometimes you miss on getting those because I mean, it's just the same way as picking up comic books when they first come out and hoping they hit it big. Like I have books over there that I've read. The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson is suddenly like an expensive book. And I like have read that copy multiple times. It's signed. And I'm just like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. So going back and like suddenly wanting to get a Harry Potter first edition was definitely difficult. One, the UK options are like not even a thing. I have a UK edition just to have it, but it's not like, I don't know, it's like a 30th print.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make a video on this soon because I have a bunch of I have like 5 or 6 copies of Harry Potter, the American first edition.
Wow.
And I have prints like this is a first print American edition. This is a first print Junior Guild edition. And you can see the difference. Like they both have, there's a bunch of different like points to show these, but the difference between these two would be like, this is the first edition, which has the diamond binding versus the Junior Guild was the only one ever printed that has the actual cover art on the board.
Cool.
And that one was way harder to find, but I'm going to make a video on how to point out the first state American first edition, first prints, because if you go on eBay, there are people selling first edition, like Harry Potter American edition for like hundreds of dollars. And they're like the 30th to 50th print. And there's easy ways to point out what's correct and what's not. So trying to help people do that. Obviously, my Pottermore Wand, which is my favorite. I have one from my first time at the Orlando studios, but this one was like custom made based off of my Pottermore Wand, and it comes with like a little certificate and stuff from the UK, which is really cool. And then on the wall here, you can see the Sword of Gryffindor that I received from TJ.
That's awesome.
And then one that I have sitting right here, which is the last piece that I will show, is this Gryffindor little clock, which apparently I forgot how to open. Little timepiece, which I received from Matt, the boy who has 7. I keep it right next to me.
That's awesome.
Be Gryffindor.
A bunch of like I have that whole shelf is all Harry Potter first edition, first prints of 1 through 7.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
Cool.
It was like I had to, like, it meant so much to me when I was a kid that it was a search that I had to go through. So yeah, that's my little collection.
That's epic, dude.
It's really cool.
All right, you're up now, boy who had 7. You got some sweet items there next to you too.
All right, so I'll start with my wand. This was given to me from a friend, and I got this little stand, Gryffindor stand, at a Barnes & Noble. And this is actually a replica from Harry Potter World, or Land, or whatever, Universal Studios.
Which character is that one?
Harry's. This is Harry's wand.
Harry's wand, okay.
Yeah, I love Harry. He's one of my favorite characters ever created. I see myself in him a lot. Alec.
So I wanted his reaction.
Hey man, I'm not. Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for liking Harry.
No, honestly, I think it's an awesome discussion for so many reasons.
So books that I read, I often grade them based off of moments in the book that I think are magical. And
No pun intended.
One of my favorite moments. My favorite moment in Harry Potter. I wept like a baby when I read book 4. It was like 4 a.m. My kids were all asleep. We were sleeping in one room because I was living at my mother-in-law's at this time because I just moved back into town. And
I love the angle you're holding it at because it looks like Harry's wearing sunglasses.
That's right, baby. I remember I was reading the book 4 a.m. by the nightlight. I was like up there with the nightlight, like trying to see, and got to this and I bawled, and my mother-in-law comes in the room. What's wrong? It's like nothing. But yeah, so I love this. I just got this for Father's Day actually on Sunday.
Oh, cool.
Nice. So my kids gave me that. And then I got this epic version of book 1 from Thanatos. Sent that over to me for Christmas. So that's really cool. And I love the binding on it, like the pages on it.
That's cool.
Yeah, so this stays up here always. Got this really cool journal. Always. Gryffindor. And then this came from Zlata. Matilda Gothica. This is Harry Potter in Hebrew.
What? That is so cool.
Yeah, so she sent it to me in Hebrew because she's from Israel. So
that's cool.
Isn't that awesome? So I got that. And then this was a gift Fox from Skeff's Comic Knowledge. He just hooked me up with that recently. And so I've got this up here. And the last 2 things I'll show you guys. I had this idea because I was watching, I think it was, what was I watching? Comic Core. And they were talking about what different franchises would you like to see come together? And I'm like, okay, where can Harry Potter show up in something else I love? And I thought DC, Justice League Dark. So I've reached out to a couple different community artists, and I've asked them to, put something together for me. And so I got this from 36 Chambers. It's Harry and Zatanna.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that was really, really cool.
Well, Harry's costume there is. He's looking all pimped.
It's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah, man. Is he wearing an ascot? That's awesome.
And then I got this one from Journos, Chris, and it's Swamp Thing and Harry.
Dang,
it looks exactly like Harry on the cover of the last movie. Like it's just amazing.
So I've got a couple other artists in the community, and I need to reach out to some more, including one guy right here. So I'm
Get
getting
it done, Alec.
What?
commissions. That's right. So, but yeah, that's some of my Harry Potter stuff. I have so much stuff, so many shirts, Gryffindor lion right there. You know,
Random thing. Speaking of books in other languages, they have a Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone Scottish edition. And I have it at work because I just like will randomly pick it up to read like pieces of it. And it is like Scottish. Like it's, I don't even know how to describe it. But if you just want to have like a super fun read, the Scottish edition, which you can get on Amazon, is one of the funniest things I've ever read in my life.
that's cool.
Amazing.
Let's check it out.
I'm gonna definitely look for that. Now, Alec, I know you got the wand. You want to show your wand off?
Yeah, I got this one shirt, which was a gift.
Yeah.
And I got my boy Snape's wand that I just got about a week ago when Universal reopened after the pandemic. But it's probably going to close again, I'm guessing, because Florida is spiking.
I was so looking forward to ditching the con and going to different theme parks with you, Alec.
I know, man.
Oh my gosh.
I am so like I'm dying to go back to Disney. It's rough, but yeah, that's obviously as a newer convert to the world of Harry Potter, I don't have a whole lot of merch, but I also I'm cool with the wand. I'm gonna put it. I have my custom lightsaber that I got from Disney. I'm gonna get another shelf and put it above that because I got a little stand for it. So it's gonna be my 2 little franchise weapons.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much either because my girls are the ones that clearly run that. So we've got like a little bobble Harry here.
I love
and
it.
all the plushies are Kate and Charlie's. And then we've got, I think, 4 wands in the house at this point. This is the one that like activates things in Orlando.
Yeah, that's what I got. The little interactive. So you
Wait,
can go.
Did they I'm sure you take better care of them than the average kid, but like, did they give you the hint on how to keep the wand from like failing to do the activating?
No.
So the glass can get scratched, and they said, yeah, you put a little like eraser, like you put on the end of a pencil, you put one on the end here, and it like keeps it from getting scratched. So just a
Get you a Snape eraser.
little safety tip there. Safety
Little green eraser.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Expelliarmus.
And then we have, I think, some replica wands as well.
Crucio.
I think Matt had a great idea for how to finish as far as mentioning some of our favorite moments overall from the series, if we want to kind of go around and share a little. So I'm going to let Matt start off on this one since it was his concept. If there's a couple, 2 or 3 that you want to share.
Yeah. So one of my biggest disappointments in the Harry Potter world was movie 5 and 6 and 7. Parts of 7. And I think Neville Longbottom has one of the coolest scenes in the book ever. At the end of the book, for those of you that haven't read it, we find out Neville could have been the chosen one as well. Voldemort had a choice to go and pick Harry or to pick Neville. And he thought, well, the Potters are more of a royal family and people that have given me more of a hard time, so it's got to be the Potter's kid. So he goes and he literally makes Harry the chosen one by choosing him and shooting Avada Kedavra, right? But Neville has this. My first favorite thing that Neville does when he stands up to his friends in book 1, and they're gonna go out. He's all, I'll fight you, and then Hermione's like, stupefy. And then the whole Dumbledore giving him points at the end and then winning the House Cup. That's one of my favorite moments in the books. But at the end of the book, everyone thinks Harry's dead. And Hagrid is magically being controlled by Voldemort, and he's carrying Harry's dead body. And Voldemort calls everybody out of the castle, and they kind of have the good guys on one side, the bad guys on the other. And Voldemort's like, hey, come and join me. I don't want any magical blood spilt. And then Neville speaks up. He's like, no, you're evil, and we're never going to join you. And then Voldemort's like, all right. So he uses Accio. He calls the sorting hat. He puts it on Neville's head, and he's like, there's not going to be any more sorting at this house. And he starts it on fire. And so they don't show this in the book. But at this point, Neville's already been told by Harry, you have to kill the snake. didn't tell him why. He just says, "It's you have to kill the snake." And so in that moment, the sword behind Matt, right, appears to Neville, and he pulls it out of the sorting hat.
Yeah.
The guinea is wrapped around Voldemort's neck and like hanging above him, and Neville pulls the sword out and chops the guinea's head off and kills the Horcrux. Oh my gosh, I got goosebumps everywhere.
I love it.
I think that is one of the best moments in the Harry Potter books. And then, of course, this is my absolute favorite. Like I said, when they all come out and his mom and dad are like, "Hey, we're only going to be here for a second."
Priori incantatem.
Priori incantatem, yeah. And then even Cedric, "Take my body back, Harry." You know, there's so much weight on this little kid, and this evil man's trying to destroy him. Woo! Gets me every time. So those are two of my absolute favorite moments in Harry Potter. And the third one, I'll have to say, and I know Alec and Matt will like this because Ginny was on your list. After they win the Quidditch match, and then Harry and her see each other and they kiss for the first time. Like, that moment is freaking epic, man. I love it so much. It's just like that conquering. They finally come together and kiss, and it's just the best. So those are three of my faves I could think of off the top.
Yeah, for sure. All right, Alec, what about you, man?
When Harry says to Draco, "Give it here, Malfoy, I'll knock you off your broom."
I love it. One more time for us, man.
Yeah. "Give it here, Malfoy, I'll knock you off your broom."
That's right, baby. Then remember all.
Nailed it.
Awesome.
That's it. Just that one. That's the best one.
Yeah, that's the best moment.
We say that
obviously. There's like, huh?
My employees, and sometimes they'll have something and be like, "Give it here, Malfoy," and they hand each other. We love that.
I mean, there's a lot of great emotional moments. There's a lot of good like things that pay off really well. But yeah, that's my favorite moment. Just because I like saying it.
What about you, Matt?
I think big memorable moments for me that stood out. You got to give it to in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, like when Hagrid busts down that door and just like,
sorry about that.
it becomes real, you know, because for me, reading the books, and I told you about like the first one where I had a hard time getting through the Dursley period. For like a whole year, the book sat on my shelf, and I finally broke that wall. And when Hagrid kicks down that door and like the magic kind of just comes to life, it was
breaking and entering, sir.
Yeah. Another one. Let's see. Dobby being freed.
Oh yeah, man.
Oh man, what a beautiful moment! Like,
You're
you're like, oh my god, it's a sock, and you're just like, yes, Dobby, freedom.
Absolutely.
not touch Harry Potter.
Oh, I love Dobby's moment.
Absolutely.
There was in the Triwizard Tournament when I actually really liked the moment when Hermione shuts Ron up so hard because, you know, Ron and Harry were struggling to find dates, and Hermione shows up at the ball looking good with Victor Crumb. Just like,
Yes.
That's a great moment.
that was
Got him.
to me, that was like, damn, Hermione. Ugh.
Got
Maybe
him.
next time you'll ask me before you wait till the last second.
That's right.
And then obviously, like the Ginny kiss in the book was just not so good in the movie.
Yeah, they ruined that in the movie.
They ruined Ginny completely in the movies. It makes me sad.
I still hope one day they decide to make like some TV series out of this, and just like each season gets one, each book gets one season.
Yeah, I mean that's one thing about the movies that like the books are clearly they're super long and very dense, and even though there is like a lot of, I think, like I said, there's a lot of repetition, there's a lot of like kind of wasted space in certain parts where I feel like, okay, I get, yeah, I don't need 4 chapters of them arguing with each other.
Right.
But there's certain things that are just like built up for a reason in the books to get this like really good payoff, and you lose that a lot in the movies because they have to move so fast and kind of skip over so much stuff.
Oh my God, could you imagine 7 seasons?
Oh, dude, I'm all over that.
Hell yeah.
7 HBO Max seasons.
It
It would put Game of Thrones to shame.
Yeah, well,
I forget what the channel name is, but there's someone on YouTube who did like a recasting if they did a TV show and who he would cast as the characters now. He does like these really cool photoshops of like the actors and actresses in the roles.
dude,
He doesn't pick the 3 main kids because he's like, they should be unknowns. I'm not going to like cast
exactly.
it. But
Like they were.
right. He's like all the rest of the roles. He makes some interesting choices.
Nice.
Send that to me, would you?
Yeah, if I can find it for sure.
Okay. Some moments you guys missed are usually my favorites are connected to Luna. So like that moment at the end of the school year when you see
Dude,
her,
I sob.
when you see her having to go around and like put up signs and look for the
Find her
items
shoes.
that she's lost, her shoes, and she's it's you can see that it's something she does every single year. That she has no friends. That you can see that like nobody likes her. That her own like roommates hide all of her stuff, and she has to spend her last night at Hogwarts every year going around to get her things and find them.
That's right.
Puts up signs, and in that moment, it's a good like Harry getting outside of his own self for a little bit when he sees like other people having
once.
way worse. And yeah, I agree. And that's the beauty of the moment. It's one of those rare moments, and Luna brings it out in him partly because she's not like a woe is me about it.
Nope.
Right.
She's very much like, this is just my routine, and
thing
it's heartbreaking from the outside.
Yeah.
Right. And then of course when she explains the relationship between Thestrals and the two of them, that why they both can see them, is a beautiful reveal.
It's a good one.
So I like those moments, the smaller moments, I guess. And there's another one when Harry runs back in to talk to Nearly Headless Nick about ghosts and why he can't see Sirius or some of these other, like he runs back in saying, "You're here, right? Like, why can't I see these other people?" That conversation is beautiful. And so those are the moments that I tend to like remember the most and like stick with me. There's in the 3rd book, the moment that I get like super weepy when I was reading it, but it's like the 3rd book, the good guys won. They're bringing out they've captured Wormtail. They're coming out. Everything's great. And Sirius says something like, "I'm your godfather. You could live with me if you want." And then Harry says, "Live with you?" Like with a question mark. And Sirius instantly replies, "I know it's so bad. I'm sure you love your aunt." You as the audience are ahead of both of them in a beautiful kind of way where you understand what both of them are going through. And that moment, you're like, no. Like you want to stop both of them in a Three's Company misunderstanding way. And it's like touchingly, perfectly done. Like it's not overdone in any way. It's just the notes hit perfectly. And just in dialogue.
Can I share really quickly my most uncomfortable moment?
Yeah.
Yes.
When
Are you
Harry,
going to end us on a depressing note? We were on the side.
no, it's funny.
Okay, good.
When Harry is preparing for the Triwizard Cup and he's trying to figure out the egg, he's in the bath, and Moaning Myrtle comes in and tries to see his business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Freaking weird, man.
Yeah.
Moaning Myrtle's a nut job.
She's a little bit, but in that moment, she's a little bit like Pinocchio in Fables, right? She's like been unable to age past a certain point and never got to experience certain things.
Yeah. But
Right.
at the same time, so like either she is still a little girl, which makes it weird, or she has the mind of a full adult, which makes it Way worse.
Yeah, way worse. I would put it in that second category, but still hilarious and amazing.
That's so awkward. That was really awkward.
Yeah, that was a great moment. I'm gonna wrap this. I mean, it's been an hour and a half. This was an amazing.
One more thing, John.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick. You cannot talk about Harry Potter without talking about the quotes from the book.
Absolutely. There's been some dropped in the chat. There's been a ton dropped in the chat. Like TJ was dropping this one.
Yep.
Right.
Yes.
Ooh, look, you guys ready with your signage?
These quotes, man. There's so many that J.K. Rowling made, usually that come from Dumbledore.
Gem. Absolutely great.
Real life, magical, amazing.
Speaking of great moments in the movies, when Dumbledore squares off against Voldemort.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That is like goosebumps just thinking about like
puts him in the big water and he's like trying to drown him in
Oh, it's so awesome.
So cool.
My favorite quote from Harry Potter.
like lava.
My favorite quote from Harry Potter is when Jean-Luc Picard says, "Fly, you fools."
That's a good meme. I love that meme. Very good.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
John Picard.
So hopefully people are enjoying this Nerd Alert. Matt and I have a bunch that we want to do in the near future, but it hopefully won't be 2021 when we do the next one. Hopefully it'll be still this summer.
Hopefully we make it to 2021. Yikes.
Okay.
Oh, man.
Come on.
Survive 2021.
Keep an eye, ear open. Maybe we'll be on Matt's channel next time. But I really do appreciate everybody coming by. Does anybody? We'll go start at Alec. Does anybody want to share things coming up on their channel?
Yeah, we got book club tomorrow night on your channel.
No, I think you're hosting tomorrow because I think I had the last one.
All right. Well, we're talking about that Texas Blood. Hopefully, I can get a copy. And of course, we got the Wednesday show on Comic Core, which is just an absolute mess, but it's fun. And then next week, I'm gonna. Oh, and I got D&D on Sunday.
That's cool.
Next week, I'm gonna be on Boy 7's channel for Comic Gories if I can get my comic collection in order and actually play.
Yes.
Boom.
I mean, I'll be there either way. I just might lose horribly if I'm not.
I like having you guys on this show because then everything you're saying is stuff that I don't have to tell people about what's
All I
going
was
on.
going to talk about.
What I'm doing. It's like you guys are going to mention all the things I'm doing. Awesome.
Yeah.
And then D&D Sunday, right? You said.
Yeah, D&D Sunday. Curse of Strahd.
Strahd. Yes. Oh, Jordan.
Oh, Jordan. Cast a little spell, Jordan.
Boy went 7, man. What you got coming up, brother?
Dude, that is too good. All I imagine is you guys always, when you hang out, talking like cowboys.
Probably not
That's
far
basically what D&D is. It's just us talking like weird accents.
Well, the more I hang out with you, Alec, the more you're coming out with all these different sounds. And
honestly, his English accent is fire.
it's awesome.
Mine?
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Your Harry Potter, give that back, Malfoy.
Your ear, Malfoy, I'll knock you off your broom.
That's right. Yeah, all that's going on with me is Comic Gories on Monday. I've got Bearded Comic Bro, Take the Time Collectibles, Carson Woodard, C. Wood, and Alec, and John, of course. So it's going to be fun, and we'll be doing that. And I literally today just started football practice and soccer practice, and I've got it now Monday through Saturday. And so I don't know how much stuff I'm going to be able to put out and do, and
Matt the Shuttle.
craziness, but it's all worth it. It's all worth it.
Heck yeah.
The whole basketball team.
Yeah, right. Hey, he's got a whole band. Becky and I were laughing because I was watching the videos he's been dropping. I'm like, now I know why he had 7 kids. He wanted to make his own band.
That's right, baby. We just went out and bought a new bass. My daughter got herself an electric guitar, and then we got a bunch of amps so we could plug everything in. And
it's all Matt's favorite 80s music. He gets to jam.
No, we sat down. I'm like, all right, everybody gets to pick a song they want to do.
Ooh,
So
nice.
we did some Green Day. We're going to be doing some U2, which is still stuff.
I want to know who's the one that picked each song. That'll be a
Yeah, we'll do
dive
it.
into there thinking.
We'll do it for sure.
Nickelback.
We are doing some Dashboard, so we'll have some fun.
Oh, I love some Dashboard.
Yeah, we're going to cover
Hands down. I'm gonna be so mad.
That's what we're doing.
Now, for those that don't know Thanatos, you guys should really sell. He's what are you? You're close to 900 now, right? 888 or something like that.
Yeah, well,
He is a veteran. Before all of us, there was Thanatos.
Right.
And he's got some amazing content, including the original TJ AOKs that are tear-jerkingly good and hilarious and amazing. He's back. He's producing content. So what do you got upcoming, Matt? You said something for Harry Potter.
I do. So I'm going to make a Harry Potter first edition, first print video, which is mostly just going to be like how to. I mean, every time I go to a thrift store and I see a Harry Potter copy, I open it and I look for all these different things because they're out there. If you nab a Harry Potter first edition, first print, it's worth over $1,000.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I want people to have an idea of what they're seeing on eBay, because the market is just crazy. People read American First Edition inside the cover of a Harry Potter book, and they're just like $500, and you're just like, this book is worth nothing.
Right.
So I would like to make a video where it kind of gives people some information on how to not fall for, a trap like that. And I looking on YouTube, I don't think I've ever seen a video like that before. So hopefully it helps some people who are trying to find the book or collect the books.
Heck yeah.
And then I am, other than Nerd Alert, like I really don't have much of a plan. My channel, like if you guys go to my channel now, you'll see a video that I put up where it's me acting like an absolute fool and pretty much telling you guys what I enjoy doing and what.
You got your exercise routine coming in?
I'm not gonna do any workout routine stuff, but it'll definitely be. I want to share like what my musical interests are, and I'm gonna make videos as they come to me in the moment, and what I want to film, when I want to film it. If I get invited to shows, I'll definitely join in. But I really do think that I don't want to say comics are over for me, because obviously, like, I still have comics everywhere.
No, but like new books and new collecting, I know.
Yeah, I'm not looking.
You just have a love for all those stories. I know that somebody wants to talk Green Lantern with you for sure.
Yeah, we haven't. Yeah,
I finished it all, dude.
Oh, we need to talk about that. Maybe we should just do like a Green Lantern, Jeff Johns
like this
extravaganza. Yeah, like this, because
just one show to get it all out there.
Oh man,
the funniest thing about Matt's new video, where he's kind of rebranding his channel, is that we a couple weeks ago were having a pretty in-depth conversation on Instagram. How we were both kind of leaning in the same direction of being like, I don't put out a lot of videos anymore because. Not because I don't want to, but because like I don't have a lot to say about comics that I haven't already said. Like I'm not just gonna like show books over and over and over again. I just don't have like the bandwidth in my mind to be like, oh, here's another thing about some story that it's just not what I want to do. And so we were talking about how we want to do other stuff about other interests we have, and then he beat me to it because I'm nowhere near prepared to do that, but. So when I do it, don't think I'm copying him. We just happen to be thinking the same thing.
It was definitely hard for me. Like everybody knew me as the Green Lantern guy, and like as much as I love Green Lantern, like joining in on like Comic Core conversations where people are talking about all these books, and I'm like, yeah, I've never read any of those. And so I felt very one-dimensional. I felt very like my comic knowledge, even though I'm a collector and I have all these books that I really love, like. It was very specific to Green Lantern. And it was nice to like branch out and read all these different things. But now I don't have time. And so I really want to just changing my channels to Matt Thanatos was more of I want to be able to be more versatile. And if I want to make a video on something that is not comic related at all, I won't feel bad now that I'm going to I don't want to have to make a video where I'm like, sorry guys, not comic related.
Right, you don't have to apologize for doing something you want to do. Yeah.
So this is me, and
be Luna.
Be Luna. That's it.
I mean, honestly, that's what I've been enjoying on my channel is like talk movies, talk like tonight, talk books. Like it doesn't have to just be the book of the week or whatever. So that's cool that it should be YouTube, like all about you, right?
Yeah. So we'll definitely do some more nerd alerts. We'll definitely do more nerd. The one thing that's never going to go away from my channel or any of these guys' channel is the fact that we nerds. Through and through.
Absolutely. Heck yeah. So people were asking where the link for his channel is in the description. Same with these other guys. Also, the link for the original Nerd Alert show from a year ago is down there below. You can watch that too and see how much weight I've gained or whatever, how much paler I've gotten since Corona. So you can take a look and get some joy out of that. So if you want that flashback, it's right there ready for you. So I guess that's pretty much it. And I'm gonna steal a little bit from my buddy, the boy who had 7 here. But thanks everybody for coming, and mischief managed.